Christmas with a good feeling. Longest winning streak of the season for the Hawks at 3 games. GA, we know this is a team that they don't have expectations to make the playoffs or make any kind of push, but you still, through a long season, when you have a young team, you don't want to lose every single game. You want to make sure you have a streak like this.
And more importantly, you're not looking necessarily at wins and losses. You're looking at progression, improvement. How are our guys developing? And so these are good games where even though Trey and Bazemore combined to shoot only 8 of 27 from the field, you would typically think there's no way they're going to win that game. But they've got great bench support. Vince Carter comes off, gets 18 points off the bench. Their bench really kind of was the difference in this basketball game. On the road, and they were able to hang on. And you talked about it, getting that 3-game win streak, you start to get confidence. And that's really what this game is all about. Look at the Brooklyn Nets. How well once they got a little momentum, they start to believe. That's what you want to see if you're an Atlanta Hawks fan right now with this young core.
This is a time to steal games, too, if you're a team like the Hawks. You catch – I'm serious. There's something about this time of year, going into the holiday, where you catch a team maybe underestimating you and not understanding the full, significance of getting that Sunday, win before Christmas. Atlanta comes in playing well, getting more out of some other guys than they normally would. You're allowed to sneak off into the holiday with a little bit in your sack. Take that, Grinch.
And I was just going to say, too, the fact Alex Len goes on the road and at least matches, if not outplays, Andre Drummond. That was huge
Stunning
for them at that center position. He was incredible for them. He didn't have a great shooting game, but his impact was felt. And, again, one of the reasons why this team now, they're learning, because you can play well when you don't play well, meaning you don't always have to shoot well. You can still win a game. They shoot 39% from the field, 26 from 3, and they went on the road. So that tells you we can find ways to manufacture success and win games when shots aren't falling. So it's a great lesson for that young group.
And it should be noted that the Hawks did this without John Collins, who's been averaging 22 a game over their last 9 games. So he's been a player on the rise for them as a young guy. Look, Trae Young playing just under 30 minutes a night, shooting under 40% from the field, just being thrown to the fire and being able to make his mistakes, and then you have a win like this. So is this good for them as they develop, to have a guy like Trae Young as a rookie to play this many minutes and make his mistakes?
Yeah, listen, I think the entire journey for Trae Young this year during his rookie season is going to be good for him, because he's going to learn from the mistakes, but he's also going to be emboldened by some of the successes. And he's had a lot of high moments. He's, for all the struggles they've had in the win-loss column, for his shooting woes and everything else that's going on, he's had enough of those positive things, GA, enough of the right kinds of things to build on, that I think he'll be fine. What you have to do is not get into judging Trae Young now, not by Christmas, not by the end of this rookie season. He needs a couple years before you really start to evaluate his process and where he is.
I think, again, Sekou's right on point. The thing about that position that he plays at his age, generally when you come in as a one-and-done as a point guard, your learning curve is much steeper than if you were a big, because you have so many more responsibilities out there on the floor, and you're thinking a little bit more. So it's going to be a challenge for him this year, but you're right. I think you'll know where he's going to be in a couple years, whether or not he's going to be a perennial all-star, or maybe does he become Mike Conley Jr., who's had a hell of a career when he was the number 2 or 3 pick when he came out. And what he's proven is he's good enough for you to win with. Like, you don't go take a back seat in any game that Mike Conley Jr. plays in. And that's what you would hope if you're Atlanta with a guy like Trae Young. If he gets to that point in his career, which I think he can, you're going to be comfortable and you're going to be happy. The only issue for them is he could do that, but you're still looking around the corner and you see what Luka Doncic is doing, and you could have had him. So you're hoping like hell that other first-round pick you got ultimately develops into something as well.
Mike Conley, the 4th pick in that 2007 draft behind Kevin Durant and his teammate Greg Oden, and who went 1 and 2 in that year. Hey, when you look at Detroit, 3-9 in their last 12. This is a team that started off the season very well. They've now lost 6 of 7 their last home games. Still in the playoff picture here, but headed clearly in the wrong direction, Sekou.
Yeah, and Detroit is a team that, if you really take stock of what they've been the past few years, even pre-Blake Griffin, but now with Blake, the inconsistency in terms of production, in their backcourt especially, has been alarming. It's something that Dwayne Casey seemed like he kind of had a handle on early in the year, but they haven't been able to figure out how to find the right mix to complement Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin up front. And to me, Chris, this is not going away. This is an issue, for whatever reason, that persists for the Pistons until they figure out exactly the right fit to go alongside with those big guys. They're going to continue to struggle. Now, the 6 or 7, that's beyond just the normal issues you see. That's a slide that would really cause concern if you're the coaching staff, because you got to stop that. You got to find a way to stop that and get this team at least stabilized and back to playing 500 basketball over the next couple of weeks just to stay in that playoff mix.
Yeah, and listen, Blake's been terrific this season. He's been incredible. I think Drummond he and Drummond have been good. It's been their perimeter play that's really struggled, especially here of late. You know, Reggie Jackson hasn't had the kind of bounce back year a lot of people thought that he would. Reggie Bullock has had some moments, but he's dealt with injury and inconsistency. Still trying to figure out if some of those younger players that they've drafted the last few years, the Luke Kennards, the Stanley Johnsons, are they going to be a part of the solution? Bruce Brown coming in as a rookie this year. So they're kind of in a crux in where they're trying to find out if those young players that have been drafted the last few years, if they're going to be able to be a part of the rotation and be a part of the answer, or are they going to continue to be questions moving forward?
It sounds like the word you're using there, outside of Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin, inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be the issue with the Detroit Pistons. Again, still in the playoff picture. Let's see if they can turn around to going 3-0.